So I watched Black Clover, and I think that Black Clover is a good series enough for me to add it to my channel. So here's my overall thoughts on what I have so far before I do my very first or second video on Black Clover. So I'm going to talk about the positivities and then I'm going to talk about the negativities. Now, I don't really think that Black Clover so far, based on what I have seen, has a lot of negative things. In fact, the pros of this series actually do it a favor and outweigh the cons, making sure that you can barely see the cons, but because of the analytical person I am able to see these, and they actually do affect my overall experience one way or another, right? So the first thing is world building. Black Clover is perfect at world building. We have a wizard world where they use magic. They have grimoires, which I think is perfect, and the fact that they can't just cast any spell and they can only cast spells that are tied to their affinities kind of limits what a witch and a wizard can do, kind of thing, and that balances out the overall universe. So the first thing is discrimination is one of the main issues the series tackles and problem we share in the real world. Black Clover makes it abundantly clear that there is a class system. Royals get more of a lavish lifestyle compared to peasants who are looked down upon in society. Like, people with low magical capabilities get treated like plants and animals. Asta's goal is to basically become the Wizard King so he can turn it all around, and through his journey so far in the manga, he has actually managed to change the heart of a few ignorant royals. That's actually a pro, and it's good that the main character is the embodiment of change, right? So the other thing I like is the creative power. So there is a colorful palette of powers and abilities shown in the battle, like water magic, fire, wind, and earth, and so on and so forth, right? The amount of abilities shown have so much variety that you get two things out of every single fight. Number one is a fight never gets boring, and two, there are always new things to see. It's kind of hard though to keep up with the new powers and rules. Usually when something new is introduced in a story, it is left to marinate in the heads of the viewers so it can lead to the next thing. However, like in Black Clover, every episode has new information, abilities, and lore, which kind of makes it difficult to keep up with, right? The next thing I find a positive and negative at the same time is something that can be improved and will be as time progresses, right? So it is basically Asta and Yuno's rivalry. Asta and Yuno's rivalry is the embodiment of the talent or hard work question, which will be interesting to see how it plays out, because to be honest, I don't really understand their rivalry. It is blatantly obvious that Yuno is leagues above Asta. There are limitations to what you can do without magic in a world full of it. When Yuno fought Licht, you could clearly see that Asta would not last a lousy minute in the fight if it was him against Licht on a 1v1. In most of the battles, he relies on assistance in order to win, and Julius basically said that you have to become the best in order to be the Wizard King. I don't see a magicless swordsman becoming the best without magic, because he is at a heavy disadvantage. If he is going to become Wizard King, he is going to need some broken powers and a miracle in order to get there. But overall, because Asta is the main character, we know as time progresses, he will get some broken powers, which will make him the Wizard King, or else what would the whole point be, right? And now let's talk about the villains, right? It's a good thing and the bad thing at the same time. Honestly, let's start with the con. I couldn't really give a fuck about the previous villains because they were, they're very stereotypical villains with an evil laugh, crap dialogue, and a petty reason for their motives. To me, Black Clover really got interesting when the villains from the Spade Kingdom emerged. What sets them apart from the rest of the villains is that they mean business. They don't turn up, give a stereotypical villain speech before losing to the main characters. Nah, they come to kill. What piqued my interest is when we saw Zenon with a bunch of dead bodies, and Locke basically said he don't want to fight them. He knew if they went in, there would be no fight. It's they bury you and that's it. These Dark Triad people are on another level. They wiped out half of the Golden Dawn members like it was nothing. This is the level of badassery needed in order to make me wonder, how are they going to get out of this? This is a sense of danger that makes you want to keep watching, and that's what a good story is meant to do, right? Now this is one of the only cons that really makes a huge impact in my experience with Black Clover, right, which I really don't like. So Tabata has a bad habit of pushing backstories down our throats in the midst of a heated battle. Like, I didn't care much about the elves because the author did a really bad job with their backstory. Not that I'm saying that he writes terrible backstories, but the way Tabata uses flashbacks and backstories are atrociously untimely, bro. Like, he will introduce a character, tell us nothing about them, and then proceed to insert their backstory at a time where I only care about what is happening in the particular moment, not the past. Let's say someone's about to get killed, right? And they'll go, wait, hold on a second, I got to tell you something about my past first. Like, literally in that moment when things are exciting, he stops and says, wait, I got to tell you something about me. Like, bruh, you're about to be killed, I don't care about that, right? He will basically say this, right?
I was a normal person until Mr. Evil captured and forced me to have kids with my wife. But then my plot got twisted when I found out that she was my sister. Now, my heart is conflicted because that pussy was good, and I can't believe I knocked my sister. Now, I found out that Mr. Evil was gay the entire time, and now, if I don't do what he says, my cheeks are gonna be split open. Like,
literally, we will, get some stupid backstory like that in the middle of a hard-heated battle, and that's the very last thing I need when something like this is going on. Not that backstories are not important, but you need to know the right time to insert them. And if you really want us to care about a character before they go down or before something important happens, let us know. Don't tell us. It's not, as a good story writer, you shouldn't tell us, you should show us, right? We should see these things happen before these characters get into the situation. Let us understand why these characters are doing what they are doing, instead of telling us in a certain moment. That's absolutely horrible storytelling, and that's the only major con about Black Clover. And the last thing I want to talk about, which is a con, is that the OST starts. There are really some badass moments when the OST is really a huge miss. Like the moment when Vanessa awakened her cat or red thread of fate, and I was expecting some mysterious like music in the background, but then the whole thing just sounded like some they were playing some World War II Nazi music in their background. Like, literally, it was so relaxing. I was thinking, what the hell is going on here? This is a major moment for a character, and all we're getting is, like fucking hotel World War II waiting music. That doesn't make sense. But overall, the show has huge potential because it is kind of still new and the characters are just about developing, and I hope that it goes well because the current villains are really killing it. And yeah, those have been my thoughts about Black Clover. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. There are new Black Clover videos coming soon enough as I'm getting used to the series. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let's try and get this video to 1,000 likes. With that being said, I have nothing more to say. Bye.